Answer one customs question wrong, and your trip ends before it starts. Customs and immigration is the most consequential 5 minutes of any international trip. Answer correctly, you're through in seconds. Hesitate, contradict yourself, or trigger a secondary screening flag, and you could be pulled aside for hours, miss a connecting flight, or be denied entry entirely. The rules have changed meaningfully in 2026. New declaration requirements, stricter food enforcement, updated currency rules, and digital device search policies most travelers don't know exist. This video covers all 10 questions with precise, correct answers so you walk through that checkpoint with complete confidence. Stay to the end. The final question contains a 2026 update that most frequent travelers haven't heard about yet. Question number 1. What is the purpose of your visit? The simplest border question, and the one most people accidentally answer wrong. This is the first question almost every international traveler hears from a U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer. And despite its simplicity, it triggers more secondary screening flags than almost any other. The reason isn't dishonesty, it's imprecision. The correct approach is one clear, specific sentence. Tourism. I'm here on vacation for 10 days. Business. I'm attending a conference in Chicago for 4 days. Visiting family. I'm visiting my daughter in Miami for 2 weeks. That is the complete answer. Nothing more is required or helpful. What triggers flags is elaboration that introduces inconsistency. A traveler who says, I'm here for vacation and maybe a little business and visiting a friend, has created 3 categories the officer must reconcile, none fully consistent with a standard tourist visa entry. The 2026 update involves remote workers. The surge in digital nomads traveling to the U.S. on tourist visas while continuing to work for foreign employers has put CBP on heightened alert. If you are a remote worker traveling to the U.S., your purpose is tourism, not work. Working remotely while on a B1/B2 tourist visa is actively scrutinized at entry points in 2026. What most people don't realize is that officers are specifically trained to listen for hesitation before this answer. A confident, immediate, single-sentence response signals preparation and honesty. Hesitation signals uncertainty, and uncertainty signals a closer look. But here's the twist. The next question sounds equally simple and contains a specific 2026 update, catching even experienced travelers off guard. Question number 2. How long are you planning to stay? Your answer must match 3 separate documents. Most travelers never check. This question matters because your verbal answer must align precisely with 3 data points the officer has or can immediately access: your return flight booking, your accommodation reservations, and the admission period on your visa or ESTA. Any inconsistency, even innocent, generates a discrepancy flag. The correct answer is the specific number of days matching your actual itinerary. 14 days. I fly back May 28th. Not about 2 weeks. Specific, numerical, matching your return ticket exactly. The 2026 update affects ESTA travelers, citizens of visa waiver program countries entering without a formal visa. CBP has increased scrutiny of VWP travelers declaring long stays, particularly those approaching the full 90-day limit, following data showing elevated overstay rates among this group. A traveler declaring 75 to 90 days should expect additional questions about accommodation, finances, and ties to their home country. What most people don't realize is that the officer already knows your return flight details before you reach the booth. Airlines transmit passenger manifest data, including return itineraries, to CBP systems hours before landing. If you say 10 days and your return ticket shows 15 days, the officer knows immediately. This completely changes how you should prepare. Before any international arrival, confirm your stated length of stay matches your return ticket date exactly, and be ready to state that specific date if questioned. Question number 3, do you have anything to declare? The most violated customs question in America. Fines are significantly higher in 2026. The declaration question generates the largest volume of customs violations, not through deliberate smuggling, but through genuine misunderstanding. In 2026, CBP has increased both audit frequency and penalty amounts, making an accurate understanding of this question more financially important than it has been in years. The duty-free exemption is $800 per person. Items valued under $800 don't require duty payment, but they still must be declared if you're carrying them. Declaration and duty payment are two entirely separate requirements. Failing to declare items under $800 is still a violation. Gifts received abroad count toward your $800 exemption. Items purchased for others count. Items you intend to sell in the U.S. count and may trigger additional scrutiny regardless of value. The 2026 update involves commercial quantities. CBP has significantly expanded enforcement around travelers carrying multiple units of identical items: electronics, clothing, luxury goods. Carrying 6 of the same phone model or 12 of the same handbag triggers questions about commercial intent at substantially higher rates than in previous years. What most people don't realize is that the penalty for failure to declare starts at $300 for a first offense and can reach the full value of the undeclared goods for repeat violations. The goods can also be seized entirely. Declaration takes 30 seconds. The alternative is significantly more expensive. And this is where it gets crazy. The next question involves food items most travelers bring without any idea they are violating federal agricultural law. Question number 4. Are you bringing any food, plant, or animal products? This question is sending thousands to secondary screening every single month in 2026. The agricultural declaration question is the most misunderstood at U.S. Customs. And in 2026, enforcement has intensified significantly following agricultural disease events in overseas markets that have put border authorities on heightened alert. The scope of what must be declared is broader than most travelers realize. Fresh fruits and vegetables, virtually all prohibited or requiring permits. Fresh meats from most international origins, prohibited entirely. Soil on shoes or equipment must be declared. Live plants and cuttings require permits. Seeds inside fruit must be declared. Homemade food items of animal origin, including cheese, cured meats, and eggs, must be declared and may be confiscated. The correct answer is to declare everything. Declaring a food item that gets confiscated carries no fine. Failing to declare an item found by a detector dog or X-ray carries a civil fine starting at $300 and escalating to $10,000 for agricultural biosecurity risks. What most people don't realize is that USDA Beagle Brigade dogs at major international airports are trained specifically for agricultural items. Citrus, mango, beef, pork, and dozens of other products through sealed luggage with extremely high accuracy. These are not narcotics dogs. They are dedicated agricultural detection dogs. The 2026 update involves commercially packaged meat and dairy from several regions, including parts of Asia and South America, now subject to declaration and potential confiscation regardless of commercial packaging. And check the CBP website for your specific origin country before traveling. But here's the twist. The next question involves money and the threshold most travelers have wrong in their heads. Question number 5. How much currency are you carrying? The currency threshold most travelers get wrong, and the consequences are severe. The currency declaration requirement is one of the most misunderstood financial regulations in international travel. The threshold is $10,000. Any traveler entering or leaving the U.S. carrying $10,000 or more in currency or monetary instruments, cash, traveler's checks, money orders, or negotiable bearer instruments, must declare this amount on FinCEN Form 105. This is not a tax. Declaring $10,000 or more does not result in confiscation or taxation. It creates a record. Failing to declare does result in confiscation of the entire amount plus potential criminal charges for structuring violations. The critical misunderstanding is that the $10,000 threshold applies per family unit, not per individual. A couple where each carries $6,000 to $12,000 combined must declare the combined amount. CBP considers families as a single reporting unit for currency declaration purposes. What most people don't realize is that the threshold covers total monetary value, not just physical cash. A combination of $5,000 cash and $6,000 in traveler's checks, totaling $11,000, must be declared. In 2026, CBP has also begun questioning travelers about cryptocurrency hardware wallets and high-balance prepaid cards, an area of active policy development. The 2026 update involves enhanced financial screening cooperation between CBP and FinCEN, with electronic financial pattern analysis now cross-referencing declared amounts against known transaction histories in real time at major entry points. This completely changes the risk calculation for travelers carrying large cash amounts without declaration. Enforcement is more sophisticated and more consequential in 2026 than any previous year. Number 6, where are you staying during your visit? Mini-hook. Your accommodation answer must be specific and immediate. Vague answers flag the system. The accommodation question cross-references the credibility of your stated visit purpose and length of stay. It is not asked out of hospitality interest. The accommodation type, location, and booking status tells a trained officer significant information about the nature of your travel and your degree of planning. The correct answer is a specific address or named property. The Marriott on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, not a hotel in Chicago. I'm staying with my sister at 4521 Oak Street in Dallas. Not staying with family, specific, verifiable, consistent with your other answers. What most people don't realize is that CBP officers can verify accommodation bookings in real time through data sharing arrangements with major hotel chains and booking platforms. Travelers who name a hotel where no reservation exists under their name generate an immediate discrepancy alert. The 2026 update involves Airbnb specifically. CBP officers are trained to probe Airbnb declarations further because the platform is associated with longer-stay digital nomad travel, raising the work on tourist visa concerns active in 2026. If staying at a short-term rental, have the full property address ready, not just an Airbnb. Travelers declaring multiple accommodation addresses across different cities should have each address noted on the declaration form and be prepared to explain the complete itinerary clearly and consistently if questioned further. Question number 7. Have you visited a farm or been in contact with livestock? This question expanded significantly in 2026. The definition of contact is broader than you think. The farm and livestock question has expanded significantly in 2026, directly linked to global agricultural disease monitoring, including avian influenza surveillance and foot and mouth disease variants in multiple overseas markets. The declaration requirement covers any direct contact with farms, agricultural facilities, livestock, or poultry during international travel. Visiting a farm as a tourist, including agritourism experiences, farm dinners on working properties, or rural accommodation on agricultural land, constitutes farm contact requiring declaration. Handling livestock at a market or petting zoo abroad must be declared. Attending a rodeo, agricultural fair, or livestock exhibition in another country must be declared. Declaring farm contact results in additional screening of footwear and clothing, a 10 to 20 minute secondary agricultural inspection. This is not punitive. It is biosecurity procedure protecting U.S. agricultural industries worth hundreds of billions annually. What most people don't realize is that the 2026 CBP Agricultural Declaration Form now specifically asks about contact with birds, including feeding wild birds in parks, markets, and urban environments in countries with active avian influenza surveillance. This is a new 2026 addition to the form that many experienced travelers are encountering for the first time and answering incorrectly. And this is where it gets crazy. The next question involves digital devices, and the 2026 policy update is one of the most significant and least publicized changes in CBP practice in recent years. Question number 8. Can we search your phone or laptop? CBP can search your devices without a warrant, and searches increased 60% in 2025. CBP agents have legal authority under the border search exception to the Fourth Amendment to search electronic devices, phones, laptops, tablets, external drives at the U.S. border without a warrant, without probable cause, and without the traveler's consent. Refusing a device search does not prevent entry, but can result in the device being detained for up to 5 days for forensic examination. Device searches increased approximately 60% between 2024 and 2025, according to DHS data, with 2026 figures continuing to accelerate. Travelers from certain regions, travelers with prior immigration violations, and travelers whose primary inspection answers generate flags face elevated search risk. The legal preparation strategy is straightforward. Before international travel, back up your device to a secure cloud service and perform a factory reset. Entering with a clean device is entirely legal. Restore from your cloud backup after clearing customs. Journalists, attorneys, and business travelers carrying sensitive information use this approach routinely. What most people don't realize is that CBP looks specifically for social media content, messaging conversations, and photographs contradicting stated travel purposes. A traveler declaring tourism whose phone contains extensive business correspondence creates a direct evidentiary contradiction of their declared entry purpose. The 2026 update involves cloud data. CBP's authority to compel access to cloud-stored data connected to a device at the border is under active litigation across multiple federal circuits with conflicting rulings. Travelers should know that requests for cloud data access during border searches are increasingly occurring, and the legal framework remains unsettled. Question number 9. Do you have proof of sufficient funds? A valid visa does not guarantee entry. CBP can deny you without financial evidence. Possessing a valid visa or ESTA does not guarantee U.S. entry. CBP officers make the final admissibility determination. And one factor they assess is whether a traveler has sufficient financial resources to support themselves for the declared stay without seeking unauthorized employment or becoming a public charge. There is no fixed minimum dollar amount. The standard is reasonable evidence relative to the declared length and nature of the visit. A 2-week New York City tourist visit requires demonstrably more financial evidence than a 5-day rural destination stay. The officer exercises judgment, but that judgment is directly influenced by the documentation you carry. Practical supporting documents include recent bank statements showing adequate balances, credit card evidence, a booked return ticket confirming your funded departure, and prepaid accommodation confirmation. Having these digitally accessible transforms a judgment call into a documented verification and immediately signals transparency. What most people don't realize is that this question is increasingly asked of travelers from visa categories and origin countries with elevated overstay rates. Proactively preparing financial documentation, even before being asked, works measurably in your favor with a trained CBP officer. The 2026 update involves digital bank statement verification. CBP officers at most major international airports are now equipped to verify digital document authenticity at primary inspection booths, reducing previous reliance on physical printed statements and making digital preparation equally valid. The final question on this list is coming up, and it contains the most significant 2026 policy change that even frequent international travelers haven't encountered yet. Question number 10. Have you traveled to any of these countries in the last 90 days? The final question, with a 2026 update catching thousands completely off guard right now. Here it is, the question that has changed most significantly in the first half of 2026, generating secondary screenings, extended processing times, and entry denials for travelers who were completely unaware the policy had shifted. The first major change is the look-back period. For certain country visits, CBP's enhanced scrutiny window has extended from 30 days to 90 days in 2026 screening protocols. A visit to a flagged country 3 months ago that previously fell below the review threshold now generates questions at primary inspection. Travelers who visited certain regions of the Middle East, Central Asia, and several African nations within the last 90 days should prepare for travel history questions regardless of citizenship or visa status. The second change involves visa waiver program eligibility enforcement. Travelers who have visited Cuba, Iran, North Korea, or Syria at any point since 2011 are ineligible for SDA and must obtain a full B1/B2 visa regardless of citizenship. This rule is not new, but consistent enforcement using improved international passport data sharing is new in 2026. The third and most significant 2026 update involves dual citizens. Travelers holding dual citizenship, where one nationality is from a country on the enhanced scrutiny list and who are traveling on the passport of a VWP member country, are now routinely flagged for additional identity verification. A dual citizen of the UK and Iran traveling on their British passport now consistently receives enhanced secondary screening that was not standard procedure before January 2026. What most people don't realize is that the correct response to travel history questions is always complete honesty. CBP has access to passport stamp records, airline travel histories, and increasingly comprehensive international data sharing agreements. Attempting to omit a country visit that appears in CBP records creates an immediate credibility failure, the single worst possible outcome at any customs checkpoint. The correct preparation is to review your complete 90-day international travel history before any U.S. entry, identify any countries that could generate questions, and prepare a clear, honest, brief account of those visits. Transparency moves you through. Evasion moves you to secondary screening. If this updated your understanding of U.S. customs in 2026, hit like and share it with anyone traveling internationally this year. Subscribe because the next video covers 8 TSA security changes travelers need to know for the rest of 2026, new screening procedures, updated prohibited items, and pre-check changes affecting millions of travelers. That one is coming very soon. Don't travel without watching it first.